Cafe Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 877. This is Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway here at the last place on earth, located somewhere in Podcaster Valley. Today it is a new into an interview with the Bay Area, California band The Orange Peels. Plus we hear from Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Oh, I'm looking so forward to this band. I love the Orange Peels music. Mike's Daily Podcast. And I've been listening to some other podcasts, and I wonder, why would you choose it? Mike's Daily Podcast. To listen to certain other podcasts. Thank you for listening to this one. And I just met a beautiful girl who sells shawarma. She has beautiful eyes that totally disarm ya. She took a little piece of my heart. Judging by my love life, I have really crappy karma. At this point, it's so bad that when I die, Mike's Daily Podcast. Won't you lay me down in Texas? No, I'm going to come back as a pencil lead or a windshield crushed fly. Mike's and it doesn't help. Daily my left ear podcast is still clogged from my recent swimming trip. You need to be a good listener if you're dating, or maybe not. All the guys I know with hot ladies only hear two things. Oh, look who just walked in. Hello, Michael Matthews. This is Madame Rootabega. Don't let me stop you. What was it? Two things. They were sports radio and the words, how do you like your steak? I don't get it. It's a joke, because like men, they don't hear anything. They just hear two things. I don't get it. It's like an observational joke about the differences between the sexes. Michael Matthews, that wasn't a very funny joke. Okay, look who else just walked in.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, you gotta have confidence when you walk up to a woman. You gotta have confidence there.
Yeah, Mike, confidence. Do you know that? Confidence?
Yeah, Mike, go up to the girl and you say to her, hey, your shawarma is delicious. Let's go out sometime. Your eyes really are the kind that will disarm ya. Do that poetry thing you just did there.
Yes, poetry. Women like that. Do you know that? Are you guys good listeners when you listen to women?
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a podcast that makes no bones about being a podcast. Some people go, oh, it's radio on demand. Oh, it's this is a tech podcast, or this is a podcast about I'm a comedian, and when I'm not on the road, I do a podcast. No, this isn't that kind of one. This is different. This is just me yapping for 5 minutes, and then I shut up. And then I talked to a really cool band. My favorite of all time. The Orange Peels. Yes, I cannot build this up enough. They're an awesome band. So we're going to be talking to them over the next couple of days. As you know, it is a daily podcast. It's a deli podcast, too. We eat a lot of bologna on this podcast. Let's hear it for bologna. Wow, you guys really like bologna. Why? This stuff is gross. Anyway, I'm going to talk to them over the next couple of days and play some of their music. It's going to be great. And I wanted to say that this woman has beautiful eyes. What was the other thing? That my left ear still hasn't unplugged. I went to the awful CVS. They you know what? No, it was Walgreens. We have CVS, Walgreens, and Rite Aid. If you want any medical crap, you have to go to those places. And I'll tell you, all the ones around here are scary. In the Bay Area, just flat out, don't get in, get out, don't hang around. I feel bad for the people the people are super nice inside. It's just there's some strange folk hanging out in and around those places. At any rate, Cafe Anyway, I put the eardrops in, didn't help. So I probably got major wax buildup. I know you wanted to hear about that. But as one person told me who has been through a similar situation, they had the wax removed, and what came out of their ear was a pizza. I know. That's just uncalled for. Folks, and I do mean you listening right now, and then maybe the other person that's listening that's not with you and I listening right now. Anyway, I don't need to get too specific, although I just did. This podcast is not going to last. I'm telling you this, and that rhymed. It's going to be the non-lasting podcasting because I honestly don't think anyone is listening. I did the crickets last time. Not going to do the cricket sound effect this time. All right, maybe just a little. You have got to tell your friends about this show. That's all I'm asking of you. I'm not asking you to donate. I'm not asking you to do anything. Just please, for the love of God, tell someone else about this podcast. Just tell a friend. I'm not saying go tell two friends and tell two friends and so on and so on and so on. No, that's a commercial for, was it Perel? That awful shampoo back when I had hair? Ugh. Anyway, no, I'm just saying tell a friend. Seriously. The Alpha Beta's old slogan. Now I'm just thinking of old slogans. I don't mean to rip off any old slogans, but just please let someone else know about this show because it is no fun languishing in obscurity. And I'm looking around. I'm looking at podcasts that started like yesterday that are getting 5,000 downloads and listens. And this show I've done 877 episodes. And I don't know if I've even got 100 listeners. If that, I'd be happy. The Twitter's doing good. Got lots of tweets. Got lots of people following my Twitter. Not a whole bunch, but I got, triple digits, barely. Got triple digits barely looking at the Facebook page. But come on. What is going on? I don't see anybody resharing this show. I've had on billions of musicians, and none of them are, like maybe one or two shared it with their fan base. I don't know what to do. I'm serious. Basil's all concerned. He's over here dancing around. What's wrong? What's wrong? He's a concerned dog. All right, Basil. It's okay. It's all right. What? You agree with me? More people need to tell their other friends about the show? And I need to stop talking about this because this doesn't make very good podcast content. and people need to go back and listen to the unoriginal, ununique podcast that they listen to. All right, fine. That's the world we live in. That's the world we live in. But you know what? Tell your friends. That's all I'm asking. I'm going to keep doing this podcast no matter if you do or if you don't. And Basil will agree with me. Begrudgingly, he said. Okay. Okay, now that was just satanic, Basil, really. I thought I brought you up better than that. Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to stop talking about it right now. But I want to say this.
Why the hell did I yelp that?
Oh, man. That's some powerful Matthews Chino I just had there. That's what we serve here at Cafe Anyway. Matthews Chinos, Mispressos. I just came up with that. I don't know why we call it a Mispresso. Maybe it's for the Mrs. Maybe it should be a Mispresso. I digress. Digressos. What I would like to say is I went recently to a place, a brewery, a microbrewery. It's one that opened in December. It's here in the Bay Area. If you should come to Oakland, if you fly into Oakland Airport, by golly, just as you are leaving the Oakland Airport area, like right there, if you're there on a Friday through a Sunday, check out Cleefus Queely Brewery. It's like almost impossible to find. You'll need to look it up on Yelp. Even though basically this little segment is me saying, why do I Yelp things when I could just talk about it on my podcast and stop giving Yelp free content? That's what I'm saying here. But what I would like to say is it is a great brewery. People are really friendly, really nice decor. They have all this reclaimed wood, which is so just, sustainable and all that fancy schmancy stuff. And they got these cool little succulents on all the tables, which is very Californian. And all this wooden furniture that the owners made. And oh, by the way, the owners work for Google, and they do this as just a side hobby because I guess they're so flush with money and they love to make beer. They are brewmasters, even though the brewmaster isn't here today.
Yes, I am.
Oh, hi.
I would like to work for these people and make real beer instead of a root beer. Over.
But we love your root beer here.
No, all you do is drink your Matthews Chinos and Miss Espressos.
Mrs. Espressos, that's a good... No, we love your root beer, even though it does give most of us ptomaine poisoning.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry about that. Oh,
anyway, the brewmaster's there and the brewmaster here and all that. It's wonderful. Queefus Queely. You could very, very quickly make that name sound very wrong. I know. But anyway, Cafe Anyway. I think it's time for me to tell you if you would like to make a comment or if you would like to email me, please do. MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST-877-IndieRock. We read your comments on the section emails from email and your common not so comments. And you can also comment there on my Twitter at Mike Talks and on the Facebook page, facebook.com/MIKEs-DAILY-Podcast. Tell me if you'd like to be on the show. You can let me know if you'd like to sponsor the show. And then there's also the website, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, with links to where to listen to the show in iTunes. Rate and comment on the show in iTunes, and more people find out about us that way. If you want to help us out, too, a great way without actually donating to us money is by shopping on Amazon through MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. All you do is go to MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, look for the Amazon icon on the left-hand side of the page, click on that, buy it, whatever it is you're going to buy, and we'd get a little support from that. You can also hear the show on YouTube, SoundCloud. Michael Matthew, what did you just say? SoundCloud. Yes, Michael Matthew. Whatever. I think that's what I was trying to say. SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, Podomatic, Mixcloud, Spreaker, Player FM, and Ameristream Live. And you can tell your friends about this show through Instagram, Yelp, and Tumblr. Links to all those places, as well as the blog, the Daily Podcast Picture, and all my past interviews there at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Michael Matthew, is it time to talk to the Orange Peels? Yes, Madame Rootabega. It most definitely is.
Into an interview.
Hello.
Hello, Alan.
Hey, Mike. How's it going?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. How can you hear me?
I can hear you. We have a perfect connection.
Excellent. Excellent.
It's Allen Clapp from the Orange Peels.
Hey.
Right on.
I'm here.
Yay. I am so excited to talk to you. I love your music.
Oh, that's great.
And
I love to hear that. That's never a bad thing to hear.
it's affirming in a way.
It's affirming.
But no, it's the truth. You got great music. I was listening to, I first got acquainted with you with the song We're Gonna Make It.
Yeah, okay. That's so maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Is that when 2020 came out?
Oh, gosh. Oh, it was 2009, so it could have been 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I love that song, and you've since come out with an album called Begin the Be Gone.
This is true. And there was an album in between there called Sun Moon, which we put out in 2013.
So, okay.
Couple records were a couple records beyond that, your entry point into our music, which is kind of cool, because that was that was sort of that record that you got into us on was a little bit of a turning point for us, and so I kind of look at the band that we were before that as almost being like a separate thing, and since that record 2020, things have been like a little bit different. So,
Alan, how
that's
so?
Probably.
How did it change?
Well, I mean, it's the. I don't even know where to start. The membership of the band's always kind of been in flux.
Oh.
Like every record, it seems like we've had a little bit of a different membership.
I see.
And so, I think up until 2020, we put out 3 records before that record, and by the time we got there, I just sort of gave up on having any sort of regular membership. I kept thinking it was going to happen, and it didn't. And so 2020 was just like acknowledging, we're never really going to have a solid lineup of this band, and so let's just invite everyone who's ever been in the band to play on this record. And there's going to be no expectation that you're going to tour with us on the record. Just hey, if you come over to the house and you have a few spare minutes, you can record on this album and be part of it. And so that was me just sort of throwing my hands up in the air and saying, like, yeah, all right, this is just what we are. So let's live with it.
And that started with 2020?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like that way of recording. Because I don't know how bands even stay together. I watched the Eagles documentary, and I think I figured out why the Eagles kind of stay together is because Glenn Frey is like Kim Jong-un. I mean, he's like the scary monolithic figure that scares the crap. He scares the crap out of Don Henley. I don't know how, but I don't see that. Doesn't sound like a fun way to be in a rock band with a guy.
No. I think that's what happens to bands when a lot of money is at stake.
Right.
That's weird. I mean, not to everybody, but obviously, like, it'll bring out the worst in people, like Mr. Fry, for instance. And you get those sorts of situations happening. Whereas from our perspective, it's just, this is not so lucrative for us that we have to like decide, we're going to do this even though we hate it. No, it's exactly the opposite. Like, we'll occasionally make money on something that we do, but so money is obviously not the reason that we're doing it. We're doing it because we love to do it.
And you live in the mountains of Santa Cruz.
I do. We live in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
And that sounds beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. I've wanted to move up here for the last 10 years. And now that we're finally up here, it's even better than I imagined that it would be.
Now, I've only been... Well, I went camping the Big Basin. Big Basin. I camped there as a kid. And then I haven't been back since. I've driven through the Santa Cruz Mountains because I live in Podcastro Valley, and I'll go to Santa Cruz.
Okay, yeah.
And I'll stop in Scotts Valley to get a coffee at Coffee Cat because there used to be one there's one in Santa Barbara. And I'm like, that's the only other Coffee Cat is the one in Scotts Valley, although they're not affiliated. But that's
really strange.
They have the same logo and everything.
But they're not affiliated. I love it. Santa Cruz Mountains, they're pretty random like that.
But I like it's beautiful. Really amazing.
It is beautiful. And actually, where we live is like about 10 minutes from Big Basin. It's not quite as shady where we live. We're kind of on a sunny hilltop, but we've got big redwoods and Douglas firs all around us. And when people come to visit us, we always take them to Big Basin to go hiking because it's like the oldest California state park, right? So you got to take people there. Those redwoods are amazing.
It is. It's the oldest.
Yeah, the oldest. It's the first state park.
Get out! Wow. So no dogs allowed because it's a state park.
Probably, yeah. We've never tried to take our dog there because we don't want to just like leave them in the car. So we haven't tried.
Yeah, that's no fun for them. But I wanted to ask you, how'd you come up with the name The Orange Peels?
Gosh, The Orange Peels was like... So, all right. Back when we were starting out, it was just me in the 90s, and I didn't have any money for like going into recording studios and having big fancy productions or anything like that. I had a Tascam 4-track cassette recorder, and I would record on that thing. And so as a joke, I called my first record Allen Clapp and His Orchestra because it was just me playing all the instruments, recording it on my 4-track. And and people liked it, So the Bus Stop label put up my first thing, and so Allen Clapp and his orchestra became kind of an actual band, and I got some friends together, and we went out and started playing shows. And then as the band kind of started, all of a sudden we got offered like a record deal with Minty Fresh, and people were offering us shows and stuff. And so we were going out there and playing these things, and then on the way back from playing in Portland one time, the band totally ambushed me, and they said, yeah, we don't want to be called Allen Clapp's Orchestra anymore. This is a band, we should have a name. And I'm like, you know what, you guys are right. I don't really want to be Allen Clapp's Orchestra either. It's kind of a joke name for a guy who was recording in his bedroom. So then we launched into this whole thing, trying to find a band name, and it took us 6 months. It was really contentious. Everyone was lobbying each other behind the scenes and trying to get their band name to be our band name. And so finally we just locked ourselves in our practice space, and we said we're not going to leave here until we have a name. Because at that point we had our record deal and we actually had our album recorded, and it was the fact that we didn't have a name was actually holding up our record. And we knew this. We knew that was bad, but we seriously couldn't agree on anything. And so we just had this big vote, and everyone had 100 names. The Orange Peels was the only one that everyone didn't hate. So it kept not getting voted out. It just kept showing up on the list, and people wouldn't vote it out because they didn't hate it. And finally it came down this is the only one that someone doesn't have a violent objection to, and that we think is relatively a good band name, and so let's just go for it. Let's go with it. People will associate our music with this name, and that's just going to be the way it is. So that's what we did.
And there's lots of vitamin C in an orange peel.
Yeah, and orange peels turn out to be kind of cool things, they're flammable apparently, all that citric acid burns. Right. In China, their orange peels are good luck. There's lots of recipes online. If you Google our band name, those recipes will come up instead of our band. So there's all sorts of great things that will happen.
That's fascinating. Depeche Mode, didn't they get their name because they were in the waiting room of their manager, and they needed a name, and I guess there's a French magazine called Depeche Mode.
That sounds right. I can't remember that one offhand, but that's probably how it happens. It's probably how 90% of bands come up with their name. It's just some random thing.
And I read that you recorded when you were the orchestra, and you had your your tax scam, and you're recording. You went in to churches and stuff to record.
Well, yeah, because I was 22 or something, or 21 at the time, just out of college, and I was looking for a job as a writer, and it took me a year to finally find a job as a writer, but then it was writing for a small community newspaper. I didn't have any money, and so basically I just had all these songs in my head, and I had to get them out because they're driving me nuts. And so I would go wherever I could go to record, because I couldn't always record in the bedroom because we lived in an apartment, and there were people, on all sides of us. So, yeah, some of those tracks were recorded in a church. Some of them were recorded in my Volkswagen bus. I actually recorded a drum track or two inside the back of the VW bus.
Wow.
And just anywhere I could go, really. So it was not it was not intentionally nomadic or anything like that. I was just really trying to get these songs out of my head, and that was the only way I could do it. It was 100% out of necessity.
True guerrilla rock, because you went
true guerrilla rock,
recorded everywhere you could find. Wow. Well, I want to play the song that first got the attention of myself to check out the Orange Peels. We're Gonna Make It, and it's from the album 2020. And they can find out more about you at theorangepeels.com. I I love the guitar work on this song. It's like dreamy. And then all of a sudden the band comes in and you're all rocking and wonderful and the vocals are awesome. How did you, what inspired this song?
I think I was trimming the oleander in the yard of our old house. And like, for some reason, for me, like doing like manual labor or just doing something totally mindless is usually the best way to have a song idea show up. So I was trimming this oleander. It was out of control. It was just like, it was growing like over the roof. It was ridiculous. So I was out there for like hours, and then I just got this idea. This little idea came up. It's like, oh yeah, like, you know, we're gonna make it. I got the idea for the chorus first, and then like started putting something together for like the verse. And I thought it'd be cool to have this sort of real glammy, sort of ultra distorted guitar sound. And so that's how that happened. And then, like I was saying before, we had this fluctuating membership, and so I think we have like 3 lead guitar players on that song.
Wow.
So there's a lot of guitars, and that's for sure.
And 2020, the name came from like what? When you finally decided this is how you wanted the band to be, or what was the name of the album taken from?
Well, there's a song on that record that's called 2020.
Oh,
and it's about that, the thing that you just described, sort of, and it's also about just looking back at your choices and like how your life has sort of gone so far, and just like seeing like like, oh yeah, you know, in hindsight I can see like a lot of stuff that at the time looked really confusing, or at the time I just had, you know, wow, I have no idea where this is leading. And not that you figured everything out, but I think that record was sort of like a halfway point for me, and just sort of like, instead of always looking forward, this was a chance to sort of look back at the same time. So that's 2020 hindsight was the motivator for that.
I see. All right, well, let's play We're Gonna Make It. It's the Orange Peels. I'm speaking with ALLEN CLAPP on Mike's Daily Podcast. Isn't that neat? How'd they do that? I love these sounds. These are so cool. The band is the Orange Peels, and the song We're Gonna Make It. And we're going to hear more from ALLEN CLAPP as we go outside of Cafe Anyway here at the last place on earth located somewhere in Podcastro Valley. We'll have part 2 of my Into an Interview tomorrow. And by the way, I've started a second podcast. Yes, I forgot to mention this. I've started a new podcast on Spreaker. And I believe you can just go to Spreaker.com/into-an-interview. Yes, like the name of all these interview segments, I always call it Into an Interview. And that's what the name of the podcast is. Look it up there on Spreaker. And I will be posting on Into an Interview. I'll be making the best of each interview that I do. I will put that as a weekly show. That will be at the end of the week. That will be the new show. We'll feature the best of the Into an Interview of that week. Sounds good? Okay, good.
And here's today's podcast picture.
There's a picture of the band, the Orange Peels, and Allen, as he will reveal later in the Into an Interviews, does a lot of the photographs and the album covers and all that. He plays around with photography and stuff. He is amazing. Multi-talented creative guy. So you can see this photo that I believe he also doctored up at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, a photo of the band. Michael Masters, that is so cool. It is very neat and strange. Kind of like you. Yes, Michael Masters, I accept this compliment. Excellent. Is your left ear opened yet? Strange? No, listening to you, it still has not opened up. That's too bad. Yeah. You smell good today. Thank you. That's good. I'm glad I gave her a compliment. She deserves it. Madame Rootabega. She's the best. The best, Jerry. The best. Next show, it is part 2 of my Into an Interview with the singer-songwriter ALLEN CLAPP of the Northern California band The Orange Peels. Plus, we'll hear from Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer.
Confidence, Mike. You gotta have confidence day.
Yeah, Mike. Confidence. Do you know that? We really need a speech therapist in here.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!